Periscope and YouTube. It took you just a wee bit longer than the folks on Instagram. They almost got the goods on you guys. I was going to give it a go all in, and you were just going to have to catch up. But I could tell some of you were really interested. Natalie, so good to see you. Thank you so much for joining. I really appreciate it. I'm happy to see you guys over on Facebook and Periscope. Please, if you have a question, a comment, or a concern, please absolutely type it in because I can see your messages. I want to give you the theme for the entire week. Usually I have a theme for the day or I have a question that someone has asked me. But I will tell you that I have had a slew of patients and some clients who have told me that this is a time of year that they really are getting stuck. And that is very unusual, especially for me because as a psychiatrist, for those who don't know, I'm Dr. Regina and I am a psychiatrist and a mental health consultant. And I help people to grow and transform their lives. And they do that by developing a mindset for success and overall wellness. And the way that I do that is by marrying the spiritual wisdom that I've gleaned from being grown up and raised in a household of faith, a family of faith. But I also marry that with my formal academic training as a board certified psychiatrist. Now, normally I'm able to live a very interesting lifestyle during the summer. I do travel a fair amount because I have my family and friends that I get to go and see, like many of us. And honestly, this is the time where not a lot of people come and see me, not a lot of patients come and see me during this time. This is the time that my coaching business, my mental health consulting, just kind of peaks. Okay, actually, my coaching programs, we start getting ready for visioneering during June, July, and August during the summer. But my patient list usually goes down. And that's because people don't want to come see a psychiatrist when they're feeling well. And most people actually feel great during the summer. And then I tend to have more folks come out of the woodwork, so to speak, during the fall and winter, especially with seasonal affective disorder, depression, folks who I've worked with and trained with who have lived in one of the states that I trained in, Minnesota, Rochester, Minnesota, when it gets really cold and it starts getting dark and there's less daylight, they start coming and seeing us a lot more. So I'm usually flooded around November, December, January, February. But I'm seeing an interesting take here. Lots more folks are coming to see me now that it's the summer, which is interesting. I get to still see people because I see people predominantly through telemedicine. So they can be wherever, any of the 5 states that I'm licensed in, and I can be wherever and can still talk to them on the phone or do my telepsychiatry. For my coaching clients, phone and all kinds of different video conferencing apps, so I get people to vacation with me. So for my patients, it's let's vacation together. For my clients, it's let's grow together this week. And I'm doing something a little bit different. I'm speaking to both my patients and my clients during this week. Usually it's kind of one or the other, and there may be some bits and pieces that fall for either side. But tonight, I think this is equally effective and helpful for both those who are my clients who are transitioning jobs, going from corporate to being entrepreneurs, or they're transitioning roles, going from one corporation to another, or going from one area of life to another. But for whatever reason, usually a caregiver role necessitates, that's it, right? Necessitates transitioning like I had to. So I'm going to start out by sharing my story and my motivation, my super why as I call it, and then go into just a couple of factoids that I picked up along the way tonight. We're going to use the analogy that I absolutely love, which is allowing something to grow. If you look at my Instagram post, you will see a quote by Miles Johnson Jr., who happens to be my uncle, who also happens to be an Air Force veteran. So again, we want to thank our service members, and I particularly want to thank him and the folks in my family, because those are the people that I was able to learn some wonderful growth analogies from. Okay, so if you are in business, this is definitely going to help you. If you're dealing with a mental health issue and you kind of feel like you're stuck, this is also going to help you. So first of all, let me share my story because I think that could be incredibly helpful. And I'll share why this came up today of all days. Because I was actually talking to another physician and I got to share my story with him. Okay, so my story is basically that I wanted to be a physician since I was probably 6, 7, 8 years old. That was all I knew to be. That was all I wanted to be. Something in the healthcare field, first a nurse, and then was a physician. Originally OBGYN. And I knew that there was basically a formula for that. You get into college, and then you get into med school, and then you go to residency, and then you're a full doctor, and you're an attending, and you work. Okay, and I knew that's what I needed to do, right, for success. I knew that's what I needed to do. Now, here's the deal. After I achieved that, it's not that I didn't feel fulfilled, but I felt like there was something that was still a little bit missing. Okay. And I got a little bit more information about what that was. Thank you, Ramona. I appreciate that. This is best coach ever. I got a little bit more information about what that was when I had my two children. Turns out they both had special needs, different variety, but both had special needs. And I thought, rather than just only being able to be fulfilled when I have my career and I'm working outside the home, what about me being able to be fulfilled as a mother, as a wife, working also inside of the home? And that started my journey towards being an entrepreneur. So now I have both my psychiatry practice as well as my coaching, and that is born out of the need to continue doing the work that I do as a psychiatrist and treat patients, but also be able to carve out the time that I needed around my life, around my husband, around my children. I had a wonderful person a couple years ago who asked me, a fellow coach, who asked me, she says, "What is your ideal life?" And I remember getting ready to tell her what would fix the problem that I had at that time, what I thought would be the solution for the problem. And then I backed up in my mind and I said, wait a minute, that is the ideal solution for this particular problem that I'm dealing with. That is not my ideal life. When I sat down and I thought about it, I explained to her what my ideal life was at that time. That was back in 2017. And I will tell you that as of 2019, that ideal life that I pictured at that time is exactly what I have been living for at least the past year. Okay. The interesting thing is, I'm so glad my ideal life didn't include how much money I was going to make. My ideal life didn't include the career that I would necessarily have. Okay. What my ideal life surrounded around were my values, my vision for myself, my children, my family, the people that I wanted to continue to help and be of service to. That's what my ideal life surrounded around. And that's what I want to continue to help other people do as well. And one way we're going to be doing that all throughout this week, you're going to see the Instagram posts, the social media posts, and all the teachings that I'm doing are all surrounded around, not the ideal life necessarily, but growth, how you can grow. Because before I could achieve that ideal life, I had to mentally grow and spiritually grow to a place where I could receive it. Because literally, if the ideal life had just dropped in my lap in 2017, I probably wouldn't have appreciated it as much as I do now. And I probably would have found a way to sabotage it. Okay? Wendy, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about, but we self-sabotage. Okay? When something gets a little bit too good, it's almost like we get scared, we get a little nervous, that fear sits in, and we back off. Okay? Right before we're able to make that wonderful breakthrough or go into our zone of brilliance or even, make that decision that's literally going to change our lives. There's always a little bit of fear that will creep in. And so we're going to talk about the growth formula for this week, and I hope that it's very helpful for you. And I'm not going to be before you too long, but each day, I can't tell you exactly when it's going to be, but I can tell you each day I'm going to come on and share a little bit more about that growth program. So my goal for tonight was just to kind of share a bit more about why I do what I do, why I went in this direction, and then give you at least one little scaffolding, a little bit of a scaffolding. And by the time we get to Friday, you'll have the entire framework. Okay, you'll have the basic portion of the house built. Okay, I'm not going to say it's fully decorated and landscaped or anything like that, but it's basically built. Okay, at least in our minds, right? So here are a couple things I want you to know about the growth process. Number one, you have to have a plan for what it is that you want to achieve. You literally have to see the end and then go back and start with the beginning. But you have to have the end in mind. I absolutely love using gardening. You're going to see lots of pictures of gardening and growth in that way because that was how I was taught. My grandmother was the equivalent of a master gardener. She only had a third grade education, but she was the equivalent of a master gardener. How do I know that? All the years of my life and all the years of her children's life, she had at least a 1 acre garden. In addition to all the other things that she did, including raising 10 children, almost by herself, unfortunately during wartime. She was born in 1916. And I didn't know this, but beginning of some of the start of some of the issues related to World War I is when she was born, and she lived through the Depression, um, and lived through at least 5 or 6 wars after that. Okay, well into her 90s when she passed. But she utilized a rubric for gardening that has continued to help not only herself and all of her neighbors and family, but each and every one of the 10 children that she had that lived to adulthood. In some way, shape, or form, continue to garden. And now her grandchildren do it as well, including myself. I do a little bit of gardening. So all of the veggies that you'll be seeing throughout the week on my different posts come from our garden. So exciting. Super exciting. Um, but I digress a little bit. But one thing that I noticed about my grandmother is she always had a plan laid out. Even before we got to taste the first tomato, eat the first cucumber in our salad, okay, or pick the first ear of corn, she in her mind already saw the corn. She already saw the tomatoes. She already saw the green beans and the vegetables and the watermelon, the cantaloupe. She already saw all of these different things. Okay? So you have to already see it. And Visioneering, I've not read the book Visioneering by Amy Stanley, is so incredibly good. You should read it. It would be wise for you to read it. Audiobooks are great and available, so please don't let that be an excuse for you. Okay? But Visioneering is a great book. One of the things that I love about that book, as well as what my grandmother taught me, is they were able to see the vision. They were able to start with the end in mind. Vision boards are wonderful for multiple reasons. One, they force you to put down in a tangible form the intangible. If you've ever heard the Clark Sisters, I'm forgetting the name of the song, but it's I'm looking for a miracle. I expect the impossible. I I see the invisible. I feel the intangible, or something like that. I see the invisible. I feel the intangible. They are literally walking you through what visioneering is all about. They're walking you through that process of being able to see things that other people can't see, to feel things that other people can't feel, to know things that other people just quite don't get or don't know. Okay, this is a little tidbit. I'm just going to throw it out there because I think you need to hear it. Not everybody's ready to hear your vision or see your vision. Okay, that vision that God has given you may be just for you for right now. You may be able to write the vision, make it plain, and share it with others. But even Nehemiah, go back and read the book of Nehemiah, when he first saw the walls that were broken down and first decided what it was that he was going to do, he didn't tell anybody. The Bible says that he took himself, a few trusted people, got on his donkey, and rode out to the area in the middle of the night. Didn't tell anybody what they were doing. Right? Surveyed the area, was able to get a vision for what needed to happen, in real time. Right? He had a vision given him by God for what needed to be done, but he wasn't actually there, so he never actually got to see how much work it was going to take. But when he actually got there, he went there by himself for the most part. A couple of trusted people. It wasn't like he went there in the daytime with like 100 people around him. You can't share your vision with everybody. You don't cast your pearls towards swine. Okay, I'm not calling people swine, but I'm just saying the most precious, valuable thing that you have is not for everybody to see initially. You may have to wait until it builds up a little bit before you just go out there and share with everybody else. There's a wonderful woman that I'm gleaning from. And one of the things I love about her is when she works with people, she has a program for them that takes an entire year. Before you actually launch yourself, so to speak, it's an entire year before you do that. I think that's phenomenal. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. And when you're growing, you're really in it for the long haul. It's a longevity game. It really is. I have never seen a plant grow immediately, fully overnight. Now, I've seen some fast growth overnight. I've seen seeds that I've planted that have sprouted into little seedlings, and broken the top of the soil in a week. I've never seen it happen overnight, not once. And even when you see people that you are growing and are doing well, and you're just like, wow, they just got great overnight. I promise you it didn't happen overnight. I promise you it didn't happen overnight. What happened is, in the dark, nobody else knew what they were doing. No one else knew who they were. Before they were known, they were doing some germinating in the dark. Do you know that the daffodil grows the best when it's planted in the cold, in the dark, in the fall or winter? depending on where you are. And then in the dark, it's allowed to germinate. And that's why it bursts forth in spring. And it can do such a great job. It's called if you've not read it, it's a wonderful book called The Daffodil Principle by Carolyn, I'm forgetting her last name. But just look at The Daffodil Principle. Great book, great concept. It's a book and a workbook. So it's a great thing to be thinking about. So again, if you think that, hey, I'm ready for prime time, you might not be ready yet. This might just be a season of darkness that you need for now. Again, you'll see some really great quotes coming out this week that are talking about, when you're suffering, when you're in darkness, when you're in pain, it may be a part of the growth process. Okay? None of you should ever have to suffer alone. None of you should ever have to go through that dark process alone. But if you're in that place, if you're in that dark process, if you're in that place where your business is not growing, if you're in that place where you're not seeing the fruit of your labor, if you're in the place where you're constantly investing in your business and it's not doing what you need to do, it may just be during that period of darkness and you're about to sprout through or break through the ground. Okay, that may be there. Now, you need to pray about that thing and seek wise counsel. If you've been in your business and you've seen no results and no fruit for like decades, that might be a concern. That might be a concern. And we need to get some wise counsel about that. If you literally need some wise counsel, you need someone to talk to about that, and you have no one, or you work with me for a while and you trust my word and you trust some of the things I'm saying, you absolutely reach out to me. If you want to schedule a consultation or call, you can go to bit.ly/Dr. Virginia, and you can fill out a form and you can talk with me. For those who aren't quite sure when I'm going to be coming on, because I'm not quite sure when I'm going to be coming on, it really depends on what goes on my day, my patient schedule and such, and family schedule. Definitely set your notifications so that when I come on, you can see me, and also you feel free to leave a comment, and either myself or a member of my team will definitely make sure that we check your comments, because sometimes people will send something in a comment and I will miss it. And I just don't want to do that. So if I don't answer directly, it's because I've missed something, and one of my team members are gleaning behind me like Ruth and making sure that we didn't lose any seed. Okay, we didn't lose anybody along the way. We don't want to do that. Okay, well, those are just a couple of pointers that I wanted to share. I definitely wanted to share my story. Just a couple of things that were on my heart, because I know there's some people that are struggling right now. And I just I want you to be encouraged. If you've been sewing for a while and this is a dark place, please don't think that you're going to stay there. Okay, you will spring forth. Okay, if you've been in this place for decades, that may be a problem. Depends on what's going on. Um, but I do believe that you should be having, if you're along the right track, what I have noticed for people that are in the dark or not discovered or not where they need to be, or they haven't made that breakthrough, that invention hasn't come through yet, there are always hope infusions when you're on the right track. I always see hope infusions, okay? When you think about Goodyear, the person that came up with Goodyear tires, you think about Goodyear, there were infusions of hope. Had this idea about rubber, couldn't quite get it together, went to depth sprints. But then there'd be an infusion of hope and something would work for a while and then you get better. And then, people would pull out and, investors would pull out, things wouldn't work out as well. So he's in a dark place again. Then there'd be an infusion of hope and it would seem like something would get better. And there would be just enough light for the path that he was on. There would be just enough to help sustain him to get him to the next place. Okay. So this is a little bit of everything that we do on Mondays. We're getting some motivation, you're getting some mindset, you're getting some mental health perks as well. But there would just be a little bit of a hope infusion until finally he had grown to the place where he was able to recognize the serendipitous discovery that he made of taking the rubber, adding an acid, and then adding heat to get what we now use in terms of rubber today. All right. Same thing for people like Nehemiah. They would be on the right track, the wall would be getting built, and then something would happen and they'd be in a dark place. Someone would threaten them, but then there'd be an infusion of hope. Okay. And then something else would happen. They'd be in another dark place. Workers would stop working, and then there'd be an infusion of hope. Then something else would happen, but there would always be an infusion of hope to let him know that he was on the right track. So, Big Daddy, I just want you to know that, if you are in that dark place or you are having a hard time, that the way to know that you're on the right track is that you should be getting these infusions of hope. I can't tell you how many times I'll be starting something and I'll say, you know what? We're not even starting something. I'll be doing a certain thing. I've been doing Growing in Grace, my coaching program, for 2 years, going on drink. And I can't tell you how many times that I thought, oh, I don't know if this is really working. Should I revamp this? Should I change it? Should I do more than tweak? Should I overhaul? And just when I'm thinking, this isn't the way, there'll be an infusion of hope. There'll be an infusion of hope. And that will be just enough for me to say, okay, I'm along the right track. There'll be a coaching client who will say, please don't stop doing what you're doing. This is exactly what I need. Please keep this level of teaching coming. It's not too much, or you're on the right track. This is exactly what I need. And that will have me continue to go along that direction that I was going. Or we'll have, I don't know, a tech issue come up, and I'll think, we're going to have to scrap this program and go someplace else and do something different. Okay. And there'll be an infusion of hope. If you've been practicing your particular craft for, like I said, years, months, a decade, and you are getting no hope, no infusions of hope, nothing but death, darkness, and delay, that could be that could be wisdom talking to you, saying, okay, this isn't the thing. There may be another area that you need to go to. Okay. Um, Everything has a season. To everything, there's a season of purpose. There should not be a period of time where it's just global darkness and despair, and there's never a season of hope. There's something wrong if there isn't a season of hope, a period of hope. Okay. The example that I'm going to give you is when Jesus cursed the fig tree. A lot of people are like, "Why the fig tree? The fig tree was not even in season at that time. What was going on that he had to be cursed? He wasn't ready to bear fruit. Like, why did he get cursed?" If you go back and you really look at a lot of the context of that story, there are a couple of things. One was that this fig tree during that time, apparently during different parts of the different areas in Israel, there are multiple seasons, and there should be multiple bearing of fruit. Um, and even if during this particular time, that area or that fruit tree hadn't borne fruit, it could be that other ones in that geographic area were barren, and that would be why the fig tree got cursed, because it wasn't bearing anything. It literally should have been barren. Okay, it would be unfair to expect something to bear fruit and it's not bearing anything, but it should be bearing something. Okay, all of the great repeating this because I think it needs to be said. You're pulling from family literally is like almost in poverty. You're still feeling like this is the area. That's not growth. Okay, that's not growth. Even the hardiest of seeds, this has to change. Growth. That's opposite of growth. Okay, that's that can't even get. I don't even know if you can get up in it. Or anything growing stagnant water, create bacteria is what we're talking about, right? That's it. Yeah, that's it. Or other, if you're in that place, then again, either you and I need to talk, or you and your confidant, your accountable, because it may be that your breakthrough is right around your personal line in the area that you're in. Maybe I said it is nice. Then I am way over time. Atlanta's been 15